The rain hammered against the windshield of David's old pickup truck as he pulled into the parking lot of Mike's corner store. It had been one of those days that seemed to drag on forever. 12 hours on the construction site, his back aching, from carrying heavy materials and his work boots completely soaked through. But payday wasn't until Friday, and his daughter needed lunch money for school tomorrow. David sat in the truck for a moment, counting the crumpled bills in his wallet. $23 and some change. That had to cover groceries for the next 3 days. He pulled his jacket hood up and made a run for the store entrance. The warm air inside felt good against his cold face. Mike, the store owner, looked up from behind the counter and waved. "Working late again, David?" "Yeah. Trying to finish that office building project before the weather gets worse," David replied, grabbing a small shopping basket. He walked through the narrow aisles, carefully, selecting items. A loaf of bread, some peanut butter, milk that was about to expire but cost $2 less, and a box of mac and cheese. The total came to $18.67. As he pushed open the glass door to leave, the wind nearly knocked him backward. The storm had gotten worse. Lightning flashed across the dark sky, followed by a deep rumble of thunder. David hurried toward his truck, but something caught his eye. On the wooden bench outside the store, a young woman sat hunched over, her arms wrapped around herself. She couldn't have been more than 22 or 23. Her dark hair was plastered to her head from the rain, and her clothes were completely soaked. She wore what looked like an expensive white blouse and dark pants, but they were now transparent from the water. She was shivering violently. David paused at his truck door. His first instinct was to mind his own business. He had enough problems, without getting involved with a stranger. But as another flash of lightning lit up the sky, he saw her face clearly. She looked scared and lost, like a child who had wandered too far from home. He walked over to her. "Hey, are you okay?" She looked up at him with large brown eyes. "I'm fine," she said, but her voice was shaking from the cold. "You don't look fine. Where's your car?" "I don't have one," she admitted quietly. "Well, you can't stay out here. This storm is getting dangerous." David looked around. The parking lot was empty except for his truck and Mike's car. "Do you have somewhere to go?" The young woman hesitated. "Not really." David made a decision that surprised even himself. "Look, I've got a couch at my place. Nothing fancy, but it's dry and warm. You can stay there tonight, and tomorrow morning we'll figure out how to get you wherever you need to go." She stared at him as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. "You don't even know me. I could be dangerous." David almost smiled. This soaking wet girl who looked like she weighed about 100 pounds was worried about being dangerous. "What's your name?" "Anna," she said after a moment. "I'm David. I live about 10 minutes from here with my daughter Lucy. She's 8. We're not rich, but we've got a roof that doesn't leak and heat that works most of the time." Anna looked like she was fighting back tears. "Why would you help me?" "Because someone helped me once when I needed it," David said simply. "Come on, let's get you out of this rain." The ride to David's apartment was quiet except for the sound of rain on the roof, and Anna shivering in the passenger seat. David turned up the heat as high as it would go and glanced at her from time to time. She was staring out the window, and he could see her reflection looking worried and sad. "We're here," David said as he parked in front of a small 2-story apartment building. It wasn't much to look at, with peeling paint and a few broken windows that had been covered with cardboard. But it was home. They ran up the stairs to the second floor, and David unlocked the door to apartment 2B. "Lucy, I'm home," he called out. A small girl with curly blonde hair came running from the living room. She was wearing pajamas with cartoon characters on them and had a crayon in her hand. "Daddy, you're all wet." "Yeah, it's pretty nasty out there." David hung up his jacket and turned to Anna, who was standing by the door looking uncomfortable. "Lucy, this is Anna. She's going to stay on our couch tonight because of the storm." Lucy looked at Anna with the curious eyes that only children have. "Hi, Anna. Why are your clothes all wet?" "I got caught in the rain," Anna said softly, giving Lucy a small smile. "Do you want to borrow some of Daddy's clothes?" They might be too big, but at least they're dry. David was impressed by his daughter's kindness. That's a great idea, Lucy. Anna, let me get you a towel and something to change into. David disappeared into his bedroom and came back with an old college t-shirt, some sweatpants, and a thick towel. The bathroom's right down the hall. Take as long as you need. When Anna came back out, she looked completely different. The oversized clothes made her look even younger, and without the expensive-looking wet clothes, she seemed more like a regular person. She had also tried to dry her hair with the towel, but it was still damp and wavy around her face. Much better, David said. You hungry? I was just about to make some dinner. Oh, I don't want to be any trouble, Anna said quickly. It's no trouble. Lucy, what do you think? Should we make our famous spaghetti? Lucy clapped her hands together. Yes, Anna. Daddy makes the best spaghetti in the whole world, David laughed. I don't know about the whole world, but it's not too bad. He looked at Anna. I hope you like simple food. As David cooked, Anna sat at their small kitchen table with Lucy, who had decided to show her every drawing she had made that week. Anna listened carefully to each explanation about the pictures of houses and flowers and stick figure families. This one is me and Daddy, Lucy said, holding up a drawing with 2 stick figures standing in front of a house. We live together, just the 2 of us. It's beautiful, Anna said, and she meant it. There was something pure and honest about the child's artwork that made her feel emotional. David served the spaghetti on mismatched plates. It wasn't gourmet food, but it was hot and filling. Anna ate quietly, listening to Lucy chatter about school and her friends. The apartment was small and the furniture was old, but there was something warm and comfortable about it that she had never experienced before. After dinner, Lucy convinced Anna to help her finish a puzzle while David cleaned the dishes. As the evening went on, Anna found herself relaxing for the first time in weeks. These people had welcomed her into their home without asking for anything in return. They didn't know who she was or where she came from, but they treated her like family. When it was time for Lucy to go to bed, she gave Anna a hug. I'm glad you're here, she whispered. It gets lonely sometimes with just me and Daddy. After Lucy was tucked in, David set up the couch with blankets and a pillow. It's not the Ritz, but it should be comfortable enough. This is perfect, Anna said. Thank you, David. I can't remember the last time someone was this kind to me. David looked at her curiously. What happened? How did you end up sitting in the rain with nowhere to go? Anna was quiet for a long moment. I had a fight with my family, a really big one. I just needed to get away from everything for a while. Family fights are tough, David said, sitting down in the old armchair across from the couch. But they usually work themselves out. I'm not sure this one will, Anna said sadly. David didn't push for more details. Well, you're safe here for now. Tomorrow we'll figure out the next step. As the storm continued to rage outside, Anna lay on the comfortable couch thinking about how different this small apartment felt from the mansion she had grown up in. Here, with these kind strangers, she felt more at home than she ever had in her life. David woke up the next morning to the smell of something delicious cooking in his kitchen. For a moment he was confused. He always made breakfast for Lucy, and it was usually just cereal or toast. This smelled like something from a fancy restaurant. He walked out to the living room and found the couch neatly made up, the blankets folded perfectly. In the kitchen, Anna stood at the stove wearing his old clothes but somehow making them look stylish. She had found ingredients he didn't even know he had, and was making what looked like French toast with some kind of berry sauce. Good morning, she said with a smile. I hope you don't mind. I wanted to make breakfast to thank you for letting me stay. Lucy came running into the kitchen, still in her pajamas. Daddy, it smells so good. What is Anna making? I'm not sure, David said, watching Anna flip the toast with perfect technique. Where did you learn to cook like this? Anna paused for just a second. My grandmother taught me when I was young. She said cooking was important for bringing people together. David noticed the hesitation but didn't say anything. Everyone had things they didn't want to talk about. They sat down to eat, and David had to admit it was the best breakfast he'd had in years. The French toast was crispy on the outside and soft on the inside, and the berry sauce was sweet, but not too sweet. Even Lucy, who usually complained about trying new foods, ate every bite. "This is amazing," David said. "You could work in a restaurant." Anna smiled, but there was something sad in her eyes. Maybe someday. After breakfast, David got ready for work while Anna helped Lucy get dressed for school. When he came back out, he found them sitting together at the kitchen table. Anna was helping Lucy with her math homework, and David was surprised by how patient she was. "Okay, so if you have 10 apples and you give away 3, how many do you have left?" Anna asked. 7, Lucy said proudly. "That's right. You're really good at this." David watched them for a moment. Anna seemed so natural with Lucy, like she had experience with children. But she looked so young herself. "I should get going," David said. "My boss doesn't like it when we're late." "Anna, you're welcome to stay as long as you need. Just be careful if you go out. This isn't the safest neighborhood." "Actually," Anna said, "would it be okay if I walked Lucy to school? I don't have anywhere else to be, and I'd like to help." David looked surprised. "You don't have to do that." "I want to," Anna said firmly. "Besides, Lucy told me all about her teacher yesterday. I'd love to meet her." So Anna walked Lucy to school, and David went to work feeling better than he had in a long time. It was nice knowing Lucy wasn't home alone before school, and Anna seemed genuinely happy to help. When David came home that evening, he found his apartment completely transformed. It was still the same small, modest place, but everything was clean and organized. The dishes were done, the floors were swept, and there was another incredible smell coming from the kitchen. "Welcome home," Lucy called out, running to hug him. "Anna taught me how to make real pizza, not the frozen kind." David looked at the kitchen counter where Anna was putting the finishing touches on what looked like homemade pizza, with fresh vegetables and cheese. "Anna, you didn't have to do all this." "I wanted to," she said. "You've been so kind to me. This is the least I can do." During dinner, Lucy chattered about her day at school. "Anna picked me up too, and she knew so much about my science project. She helped me understand fractions better than anyone ever has." David looked at Anna with curiosity. "You seem to know a lot about different subjects." Anna blushed slightly. I've always liked learning. I read a lot." "What kind of books?" David asked. "All kinds, history, science, literature. I guess I'm just curious about everything." As the days passed, Anna became more and more a part of their little family. She would walk Lucy to school in the morning, spend the day cleaning and cooking, and help with homework in the evening. But David started noticing things that didn't quite add up. One morning he saw Anna talking on a very expensive-looking phone. When she noticed him watching, she quickly hung up and put it away. "Sorry, just checking messages," she said. Another time, Lucy came home from school with a brand new backpack. "Anna bought it for me," Lucy said excitedly. "My old one was falling apart." David pulled Anna aside later. "Anna, that backpack probably cost $50. Where did you get that kind of money?" I had some savings," Anna said, not meeting his eyes. "I wanted to get something nice for Lucy." David wanted to believe her, but something felt off. Anna's clothes might have been simple now, but he remembered how expensive they looked that first night, and the way she carried herself was different from anyone he knew. She stood up straight, spoke clearly, and had perfect table manners. Even her handwriting, which he'd seen when she helped Lucy with homework, was elegant and neat. One evening, David was watching the news when a story came on about a missing person. The reporter was talking about a young woman from a wealthy family who had disappeared 2 weeks ago. David turned up the volume and listened carefully, but Anna had gone to her room early, saying she had a headache. The next day, Lucy came home upset. "Daddy, some mean boys at school were making fun of my clothes. They said my shoes were old and ugly." Anna's face changed completely. For just a moment, David saw something in her eyes that looked almost dangerous. "What were their names?" she asked quietly. "Anna, they're just kids," David said. "Kids can be cruel sometimes." But Anna was already reaching for her phone. "There's a children's clothing store downtown. I could take Lucy shopping this weekend." "We can't afford new clothes right now," David said gently. "Money's tight until my next paycheck." "What if I paid for them?" Anna asked. "As a gift?" David shook his head. "Anna, you've already done so much, and I still don't understand where you're getting money for gifts." Anna looked frustrated. "David, I just want to help. Lucy shouldn't have to deal with bullies because her family doesn't have much money." "That's life," David said. "We make do with what we have. Lucy knows she's loved, and that's more important than expensive clothes." Anna was quiet for a long moment. "Is it, though? Is love really enough when the world judges you for what you don't have?" There was something in her voice that made David think she was talking about more than just Lucy's situation. That night, after Lucy had gone to bed, David and Anna sat in the living room talking. "Anna, can I ask you something?" "Sure. You've been here almost a week now. Don't you think your family is worried about you?" Anna's face went dark. "Trust me, they're not worried about me. They're probably angry, but not worried." "What happened? What was this fight about?" Anna was quiet for so long that David thought she wasn't going to answer. Finally, she said, "They wanted me to do something I couldn't do, something that would have made me miserable for the rest of my life. So I left." "Anna, family is important. Maybe if you talk to them." "You don't understand," Anna said, standing up quickly. "My family isn't like yours. They don't care about love or happiness. They only care about money and status and what other people think." David watched as she paced around the small living room. "Not all families are perfect, but they usually love us even when they make mistakes." Anna stopped and looked at him. "Your family is perfect, David. You and Lucy have something real. You take care of each other without expecting anything in return. That's not how my world works." "What world is that?" David asked softly. But Anna just shook her head. "It doesn't matter. I'm here now, and I'm happier than I've ever been. Can't that be enough?" David could see that she was hiding something big, but he also saw how much she cared about Lucy, and how much his daughter had come to love Anna. Maybe everyone deserved a second chance, even if they couldn't tell the whole truth about their past. "Okay," he said. "But Anna, whatever you're running from, you can't hide forever. Eventually, you'll have to face it." Anna nodded sadly. "I know. But maybe I can have just a little more time being happy first." 2 weeks had passed since Anna first arrived, and David's life had settled into a comfortable routine. Anna would have breakfast ready when he woke up, walk Lucy to school, and somehow transform their simple apartment into something that felt like a real home. But the more time went by, the more questions David had. It started with small things, like the way Anna held her fork, or how she never seemed to struggle with Lucy's harder homework problems. When Lucy brought home a worksheet about world geography, Anna knew facts about countries that David had never even heard of. "How do you know so much about Switzerland?" David asked one evening, as Anna helped Lucy color in a map. I've read about it," Anna said quickly. "I used to love looking at travel magazines." But the way she said it made David think there was more to the story. The next morning, David was getting ready for work when someone knocked on the door. It was rare for anyone to visit their apartment, so he looked through the peephole carefully. A man in an expensive suit stood in the hallway looking around nervously. "Can I help you?" David asked through the door. "I'm looking for someone," the man said. "A young woman about 23 years old, dark hair. She might be going by a different name." David's heart started beating faster. He looked back toward the kitchen where Anna was making coffee. "What's this about?" "Her family is very worried about her. She's been missing for over 2 weeks." David didn't open the door. "I haven't seen anyone like that. You might try asking at the store downstairs." After the man left, David sat at the kitchen table feeling confused and worried. Anna noticed his mood right away. "Is everything okay?" she asked. "Anna, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me." She sat down across from him, and he could see her hands shaking slightly. "Are you in some kind of trouble? Is someone looking for you?" Anna was quiet for a long moment. "Why would you ask that?" "Because a man in a very expensive suit just came to my door asking about a missing young woman who matches your description." The color drained from Anna's face. "What did you tell him?" "I told him I hadn't seen anyone. But Anna, if you're in danger or if you've done something wrong, I need to know. I have Lucy to think about." "I haven't done anything wrong," Anna said quickly. "I promise you that. I would never put Lucy in danger." "Then what's going on? Who was that man?" Anna stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the street below. "I can't tell you everything, David, but I need you to trust me. I'm not a criminal and I'm not dangerous. I'm just trying to figure out my life." David wanted to believe her, but something felt very wrong about the whole situation. That afternoon, while David was at work, something happened that made everything more complicated. Lucy had gotten sick at school, and the nurse called Anna to come pick her up. Anna arrived at the school in a panic, worried that something serious was wrong. "She just has a fever," the nurse explained. "But we need to take her to see a doctor to make sure it's nothing serious." Anna didn't hesitate. "Where's the nearest hospital?" "Well, there's the free clinic about Thibault 20 minutes away, or there's St. Mary's Hospital downtown, but that's pretty expensive without good insurance." "Take us to St. Mary's," Anna said immediately. The nurse looked surprised. "Are you sure? The bill could be hundreds of dollars just for the emergency room visit." "I don't care about the money," Anna said. "Just take us there now." At the hospital, Anna filled out all the paperwork and handed over a credit card without even asking about the cost. The doctors ran tests and determined that Lucy just had a common cold, but they kept her for a few hours to make sure her fever went down. While they waited, Lucy fell asleep on the hospital bed. Anna sat beside her, holding her hand and looking, more worried than the situation really called for. "Are you her mother?" one of the nurses asked. "No, I'm a family friend," Anna said. "Her father is at work. You must be a very close friend to take on this kind of expense," the nurse said, looking at the bill. "This is going to cost over $800. Anna just nodded. "She's worth it." When David got the call from Anna explaining what had happened, he rushed to the hospital immediately. He found them in the children's ward with Lucy awake and feeling much better. "Daddy," Lucy said, reaching for him. "Anna took such good care of me. The doctor said I'm going to be fine." David hugged his daughter, relief flooding through him, but then he started thinking about the cost. "Anna, how much is this going to cost us?" "Don't worry about it," Anna said. "It's taken care of." "What do you mean it's taken care of?" "I paid for it." David stared at her. "Anna, this is a private hospital. The bill is probably close to $1,000. Where did you get that kind of money?" Anna looked uncomfortable. "I told you I had some savings." "Nobody our age has that kind of savings just sitting around," David said. "Anna, I'm grateful for what you did for Lucy, but I need to know who you really are." That evening, after they got home and Lucy was feeling better, David decided to do some research. He waited until Anna was in the shower, then used his old laptop to search for information about missing persons in their area. It didn't take long to find what he was looking for. The headline read, "Billionaire's daughter still missing after 3 weeks." Below it was a photo that made David's heart stop. It was Anna. The picture showed her at some fancy event wearing an expensive dress and jewelry, but it was definitely her. The article said her real name was Isabella Hartwell, and she was the only daughter of Richard Hartwell, one of the richest men in the country. David read the article twice, trying to understand what it meant. Anna wasn't just some girl from a rich family who had run away from home. She was one of the wealthiest people in the world, and she had been living on his couch, eating his food, and helping with his daughter's homework. The article mentioned that Isabella had disappeared the night before she was supposed to announce her engagement to Jonathan Pierce, the son of another wealthy family. It was described as a merger of two business empires more than a wedding. David heard the shower turn off and quickly closed the laptop. A few minutes later, Anna came out wearing his old t-shirt and sweatpants, looking nothing like the polished young woman in the photograph. "David, you look upset," she said, sitting down beside him on the couch. "Is Lucy okay?" "Lucy's fine," David said quietly. "But I think we need to talk." Anna must have heard something in his voice because her whole body went tense. "About what?" "About who you really are, Isabella." The fake name hit her like a physical blow. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. "How did you find out?" "It wasn't hard once I started looking," David said. "Your picture is all over the internet. Your father is offering $1 million reward for information about where you are." Anna laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Of course he is. Not because he's worried about me, but because he's worried about his business deal. Anna, or Isabella, I don't even know what to call you anymore." "Call me Anna," she said quickly. "Please. Isabella is someone I never wanted to be." David looked at her, trying to understand. "You're worth billions of dollars, and you've been living here in my tiny apartment, helping me take care of my daughter." "Why?" Anna was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, "Because this is the first place I've ever felt like I belonged. With you and Lucy, I'm not a business deal or a publicity opportunity. I'm just Anna, a person who cares about people and gets cared about in return. But your family must be worried sick." "No, they're not," Anna said firmly. "They're angry because I embarrassed them by running away from my engagement party. But worried? No. My father probably sees this as a minor business setback, nothing more." David tried to process everything he had learned. "So you're telling me that you gave up billions of dollars to live here with us?" "I gave up billions of dollars to be free," Anna corrected. "Living here with you and Lucy is just the best part of that freedom." "Anna, this is crazy. You can't just walk away from your entire life." "Why not?" she asked. "What was that life giving me? A forced marriage, to a man I've never loved. A future where every decision is made for me, where I'm valued only for my last name and my bank account?" David understood what she was saying, but he also knew it couldn't last. "Anna, people are looking for you. That man who came to my door this morning won't be the last one. Eventually, they're going to find you." Anna nodded sadly. "I know. I've been trying not to think about it, but I know my time here is running out. What happens when they find you?" "I'll be dragged back to my old life. The engagement, the business merger, the whole thing. My father will make sure I can never run away again." David looked at this young woman who had become so important to his family, and his heart broke for her. She had everything that money could buy, but none of the things that really mattered. And now, because she had found those things with him and Lucy, she was going to lose them both. "There has to be another way," David said. "Some kind of compromise." Anna shook her head. "You don't understand how people like my father think. To him, I'm not a person with my own dreams and feelings. I'm a business asset, and business assets don't get to make their own choices." Outside, David heard a car door slam and saw headlights in the parking lot. His blood went cold when he realized there were several cars, and they looked expensive. "Anna," he said quietly, "I think they found you." Anna's face went completely white when she saw the headlights. She jumped up from the couch and looked out the window. 3 black cars were parked in front of the building, and men in dark suits were getting out. "Oh no," she whispered. "They found me." David felt his heart racing. "Anna, what do we do?" Before she could answer, there was a loud knock on the door, not the polite knock of a neighbor, but the demanding knock of someone who expected to be let in immediately. "Isabella Hartwell," a deep voice called out. "We know you're in there. Your father sent us to bring you home." Anna grabbed David's arm. "I'm so sorry. I never wanted to bring this to your home. I should have left days ago." "Isabella," the voice called again, "if you don't open this door, we'll have to open it ourselves." David looked at Anna, then at Lucy's bedroom door. His daughter was sleeping, and he couldn't let her get scared by whatever was about to happen. "I have to go with them," Anna said quietly. If I don't, they might call the police or cause trouble. For you and Lucy. No, David said firmly. This is my home. They can't just take you if you don't want to go. Anna shook her head sadly. Yes, they can. My father has lawyers and connections everywhere. He could make your life very difficult if he wanted to. The knocking got louder and more aggressive. David could hear Lucy starting to wake up in her room. Okay, David said, but I'm opening the door. I want to talk to these people myself. David, please don't make this harder than it has to be, Anna said. These men work for my father. They're not bad people, but they have a job to do. David walked to the door and unlocked it. Two large men in expensive suits stood in the hallway, looking very serious. Behind them, David could see a third man who was older and wearing glasses. Mr. Chen, the older man said, reading from a piece of paper. I'm Robert Walsh, head of security for the Hartwell family. We're here to collect Miss Isabella Hartwell. She has a name, David said, and she's not your property. Mr. Walsh looked surprised by David's attitude. Sir, Miss Hartwell is the daughter of one of the most powerful men in this country. She's been missing for 3 weeks and her family is very worried about her. Her family is worried about their business deal, David shot back. Anna told me about the arranged marriage. That's not your concern, Mr. Walsh said coldly. Miss Hartwell needs to come with us now. Anna appeared beside David. She had changed back into the expensive clothes she was wearing the night she arrived, and suddenly she looked like a completely different person. Her posture was straighter, her face was more serious, and she seemed older somehow. Hello, Robert, she said calmly. I suppose my father is very angry. Miss Isabella, your father is beyond angry. The Pierce family is threatening to call off the merger if you don't return immediately. You've embarrassed everyone involved. Good, Anna said. Maybe that will teach them not to treat people like business contracts. Robert looked past Anna into the apartment, taking in the modest furniture and small space. Miss Isabella, what have you been doing here? I've been living, Anna said simply. For the first time in my life, I've been actually living. Lucy appeared in the hallway, rubbing her eyes sleepily. Daddy, what's happening? Who are these men? David immediately went to her. It's okay, sweetheart. These men are here to talk to Anna. Lucy looked at Anna, then at the serious-faced men in suits. Are you in trouble, Anna? Anna knelt down so she was at Lucy's eye level. No, sweetie. These men work for my family. They're here to take me home. But this is your home, Lucy said, confused. You live here with me and Daddy. Anna's eyes filled with tears, but she tried to smile. I know it feels that way, but I have another family who wants me to come back. Can't you tell them you want to stay here? Lucy asked innocently. Robert Walsh stepped forward. Miss Isabella, we really need to go. Your father is waiting. Anna stood up and looked at David. I need to get my things. You don't have any things, David said. Everything you've been wearing belongs to me. Then I guess I don't need anything, Anna said sadly. She hugged Lucy tightly and David could see both of them crying. I want you to know that the time I spent here with you was the happiest time of my entire life, Anna whispered to Lucy. You and your daddy taught me what it means to be part of a real family. Will you come back and visit us? Lucy asked. Anna looked at Robert Walsh, who shook his head slightly. I don't think so, sweetheart. But I want you to remember that you're the smartest, kindest little girl in the world, and your daddy is the best man I've ever met. David felt his heart breaking as he watched Anna say goodbye to his daughter. Anna, wait. There has to be another way. You don't have to go back to a life that makes you miserable. Yes, she does, Robert Walsh said firmly. Miss Isabella has responsibilities to her family and their business interests. She's 23 years old, David said angrily. She should be able to make her own choices. Not when those choices affect billions of dollars and hundreds of jobs, Robert replied. Miss Isabella was raised to understand her duty. Anna looked at David with tears in her eyes. He's right, David. I was selfish to think I could just run away from my responsibilities. People depend on my family's businesses for their jobs. The merger with the Pierce family will create thousands of new jobs. But what about your happiness? David asked. What about it? Anna said quietly. Maybe happiness is a luxury that people like me can't afford. That's not true, David said. Everyone deserves to be happy. Rich or poor, everyone deserves to choose their own life. Robert Walsh was getting impatient. Miss Isabella, your father gave strict instructions. You need to come with us now, or we'll have to call additional security. Anna nodded and walked toward the door. But then she stopped and turned back to David. David, I need you to know something. Everything I told you about caring for you and Lucy was true. I wasn't pretending or using you. What we had here was real. I know, David said. That's what makes this so hard. Also, Anna said, reaching into her pocket, I left something for Lucy in her room. It's not much, just something to remember me by. Robert Walsh took Anna gently by the arm. We really need to go now. As they walked toward the door, David called out, Anna, wait, what's going to happen to you? She turned back one more time. I'll marry Jonathan Pierce like my father wants. I'll smile for the cameras and pretend to be happy. And maybe someday, if I'm very lucky, I'll have another chance at a real life. And if you don't get that chance? Anna smiled sadly. Then at least I'll have the memory of 3 weeks when I was truly happy. After they left, David sat on his couch in the quiet apartment. Everything looked the same, but it felt completely empty. Lucy climbed into his lap, still crying. Daddy, why did Anna have to go? She asked. Sometimes adults have to do things they don't want to do, David said, holding her close. Anna's family needs her for something very important. But we need her too, Lucy said. I know, sweetheart. I know. Later, after Lucy had gone back to bed, David went into her room to check on her. On the nightstand next to her bed, he found an envelope with Lucy's name written on it in Anna's elegant handwriting. Inside was a letter and a small, expensive-looking necklace with a heart pendant. The letter read, Dear Lucy, this necklace belonged to my grandmother, the only person in my family who ever really loved me. She taught me that love is the most valuable thing in the world, and that's a lesson I learned again from you and your daddy. I want you to have this so you'll always remember that you are loved more than you know. Take care of your daddy for me. Love always, Anna. David sat in Lucy's room for a long time, holding the letter and thinking about everything that had happened. Anna was gone, back to her world of money and arranged marriages and business deals. But she had left something behind, the knowledge that even in the darkest circumstances, love could still find a way to shine through. Outside, the city went on with its normal life, unaware that a billionaire's daughter had just chosen duty over happiness, and that a construction worker and his daughter were learning what it meant to lose someone they loved. David looked at his sleeping daughter and made a promise to himself. He would make sure Lucy always knew that she had choices in life, and that no amount of money or pressure should ever force someone to give up on love. 3 weeks had passed since Anna was taken away, and David's life felt like it had lost all its color. He went to work, came home, helped Lucy with homework, and made dinner. But everything felt empty and mechanical. Lucy had stopped asking when Anna was coming back, but David could see the sadness in her eyes. Every morning, David would find Lucy holding the heart necklace Anna had left for her. She would stare at it for a few minutes before getting ready for school, like she was trying to hold on to the memory of the woman who had become like a mother to her. Daddy, Lucy said one morning over breakfast, do you think Anna is happy? David looked at his daughter's sad face and felt his heart break all over again. I hope so, sweetheart, I really hope so. But David had been watching the news, and every report about Isabella Hartwell made him feel worse. There were pictures of her at fancy parties with Jonathan Pierce, the man she was supposed to marry. In every photo, she was smiling. But David could see that it wasn't real. Her eyes looked empty, like she was just going through the motions. The wedding was scheduled for the following month, and it was being called the social event of the decade. David tried not to think about it, but it was hard to avoid when Anna's face was on magazine covers everywhere. Then, on a Thursday morning, something happened that changed everything. David was at his construction site when his boss, Tony, called him over. "David, I need to talk to you about something. We just got some very strange news." "What kind of news?" "Someone wants to buy our company," Tony said, looking confused. "They're offering way more money than we're worth, like enough money to pay off all our debts and give everyone raises." David was surprised. Their small construction company was always struggling to pay the bills. "Who wants to buy us?" "That's the weird part. It's some big investment firm I've never heard of. They want to keep all the employees and expand our business. It's like someone just handed us a miracle." David had a strange feeling in his stomach. "When did this offer come in?" "About a week ago. The lawyers are still going through all the paperwork, but it looks like it's going to happen." That evening, David was helping Lucy with her homework when there was a knock on the door. This time it wasn't the aggressive knocking of security guards. It was gentle, almost hesitant. David looked through the peephole and saw a woman in a business suit holding a large envelope. "Can I help you?" he asked through the door. "Mr. Chen? My name is Patricia Williams. I'm a lawyer. I need to speak with you about a very important matter." David opened the door carefully. The woman looked professional but friendly. "Mr. Chen, I represent someone who wishes to remain anonymous for now. This person has asked me to give you this envelope." She handed him a thick manila envelope with his name written on it in handwriting that looked familiar. "What's this about?" David asked. "I think the contents will explain everything," Patricia said. "My client wanted me to tell you that this comes with no strings attached and no expectations. It's simply a gift from someone who cares about you and your daughter." After Patricia left, David sat at his kitchen table staring at the envelope. Lucy was watching TV in the living room, but he could see her glancing at him curiously. Finally, he opened it. Inside was a letter in Anna's handwriting and a bank statement that made David's eyes go wide. The letter read, "Dear David, I know you're probably angry that I'm doing this, but please hear me out. The money in this account is mine. Money my grandmother left me that my father can't touch. I've been thinking about you and Lucy every single day since I left, and I realized something important. You taught me what real love looks like. Not the fake love that comes with conditions and business deals, but the kind of love that puts other people's happiness first. You did that for me when you let a stranger stay on your couch. You did it again when you let me become part of your family, even when you knew I was keeping secrets. So now I want to do the same thing for you. I want to put your happiness first, without expecting anything in return. The money is enough to buy a house, pay for Lucy's college, and make sure you never have to worry about bills again. I also bought your construction company through my lawyers, so you'll always have a secure job. I know you're going to want to refuse this gift, but please don't. Let me do this one thing for the people I love, most in the world. I'm getting married next week. My father got what he wanted, and the business merger is going through. But I want you to know that my heart will always belong to the 2 weeks I spent being part of your family. Take care of Lucy, and tell her that Anna loves her more than all the money in the world. All my love, Anna P.S. If you ever see me on TV, or in the newspapers, remember that the real me is the person who made you breakfast and helped Lucy with her homework. Everything else is just an act." David read the letter 3 times before the words really sank in. Then he looked at the bank statement again. There was enough money to change their lives forever, but as grateful as he was, the money didn't make the sadness go away. If anything, it made it worse because it reminded him of how much Anna had given up to go back to her old life. The next morning, David made a decision that surprised even himself. He called in sick to work, dropped Lucy off at school, and drove to the biggest, fanciest hotel in the city. He had seen in the newspaper that Anna was staying there while preparing for her wedding. The lobby was full of expensive-looking people, and David felt very out of place in his work clothes. He walked up to the front desk. "I need to see Isabella Hartwell," he told the clerk. The young woman behind the desk looked him up and down suspiciously. "I'm sorry, sir, but Miss Hartwell isn't taking visitors. She's preparing for her wedding. Just tell her David Chen is here. Tell her it's about Lucy." The clerk made a phone call, and a few minutes later Robert Walsh appeared. He recognized David immediately. "Mr. Chen, Miss Isabella can't see you right now." She's in the middle of wedding preparations. I don't care, David said firmly. I need to talk to her for 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking. Robert looked uncomfortable. Sir, Miss Isabella has moved on with her life. It would be better for everyone if you did the same. Let him come up. Everyone turned around. Anna was standing by the elevators, wearing a simple dress and looking more tired than David had ever seen her. Isabella, your father said. Robert started. I don't care what my father said. Anna interrupted. David, come with me. They rode the elevator to the top floor in silence. Anna's hotel suite was bigger than David's entire apartment, with windows that looked out over the whole city. You got my letter, Anna said. Anna, I can't accept that money. Yes, you can, she said firmly. And you will. Do you know how happy it makes me to know that Lucy will be able to go to any college she wants? That you'll never have to worry about paying rent or buying groceries. But what about you? David asked. Are you happy? Anna looked out the window at the city below. I'm doing what I have to do. That's not what I asked. Anna was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, No, I'm not happy. But maybe happiness isn't meant for people like me. That's not true, David said. Anna, you don't have to go through with this wedding. You have choices. Do I? My father has made it very clear that if I don't marry Jonathan, he'll destroy anyone I care about. That includes you and Lucy. David felt a surge of anger. So you're going to spend your whole life being miserable because your father is a bully? I'm going to spend my life making sure the people I love are safe and happy, Anna corrected. David walked over to her and took her hands. Anna, listen to me. Lucy and I would rather be poor and struggling than know that you sacrificed your happiness for us. That's not love, that's guilt. Anna started crying. David, you don't understand. If I don't do this, my father will... Your father will what? Take away his money? We don't need his money. We don't need your money either, even though I'm grateful for what you did. All we need is each other. But the threats he made are probably empty, David said. Bullies are usually cowards when someone stands up to them. Anna looked at him with hope in her eyes for the first time since he'd arrived. Do you really think we could make it work? You and me and Lucy? I know we could, David said. We did it for 3 weeks, and those were the best 3 weeks of my life too. Anna threw her arms around him, crying and laughing at the same time. I've been so miserable without you and Lucy. I kept thinking about making breakfast and helping with homework and feeling like I belonged somewhere. You do belong somewhere, David said. You belong with us. 2 hours later, Anna walked out of the hotel with David carrying a single suitcase. She had left behind millions of dollars worth of clothes and jewelry, but she didn't care. She was going home to the people who loved her for who she really was, not what she represented. The wedding scandal made headlines for weeks, but Anna didn't read the newspapers. She was too busy being happy with her new family, in their new house, building a life based on love instead of money. And every morning when she woke up next to David and heard Lucy laughing in the kitchen, she knew she had made the right choice. Because sometimes the richest people in the world are the ones who have just enough.